Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. We reveal the real story behind the disgraced Yorkshire MP serving time for fraud, as Labour says the selection process has been radically changed.
I am determined that across Yorkshire the very best representation is there, and so that will never happen again.
We'll hear from friends and colleagues of Jarrad O'Mara. Also tonight, investigations are underway after protesters take down Israeli flags flying above council buildings in Sheffield and Rotherham.
South Yorkshire's very own chat show king, Sir Michael Parkinson, who died in August, is remembered in his home village of Cudworth.
And a voyage of discovery. Leeds librarians find an antique book about Antarctica worth tens of thousands of pounds.
Well, that was a lovely sunset last night at Leeds Bradford Airport. We won't see the sun again this evening, but it will be back in force on Thursday. Join me for the very latest.
Hello, welcome to Wednesday's programme. First tonight, the leader of the Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer, has told Look North that the jailed Yorkshire MP Jarrad O'Mara would never have been selected as a candidate today, as the process has been overhauled. He was speaking as a new BBC documentary charts the short time the former Sheffield Hallam MP spent in office before he was convicted of fraud. In a moment, we'll hear from Sir Keir, but first, our political editor, James Vincent, who worked on the documentary, has the details.
Jarrad O'Mara, Labour Party, 21,881.
Jarrad O'Mara was one of the big stories of the 2017 election. We just didn't know how big a story he'd become.
I can't believe the turnout here.
The problems started even before he was elected.
First we knew is that we had a candidate. We didn't know how that had come about. All we knew is that we'd played no role. Most people, didn't know him from Adam. I didn't know him.
On the day he was elected, he borrowed his dad's blazer to get up because he didn't have anything to it. That blazer he put on was his dad's.
And he just seemed like an actual real person as opposed to a politician. So it was really exciting at first.
I was just gobsmacked. I was like, he's an actual MP. He's gone from being a DJ to an MP. I was like, this is mental.
In the last few minutes, the Labour Party has announced that it's launched an investigation into the behaviour of its MP for Sheffield Hallam.
He apologised for the comments he'd made online when he was younger. That's when Labour suspended him, they investigated him, and then they reinstated him. But the day after that, Jarrad left Labour saying he'd not had enough support.
Due to mistakes I made when I was young, and for which I'm truly sorry as it hurt a lot of people, I've been unable to speak in the House with confidence until now.
He was given an office, as I understand, in the first place, where with his disability he couldn't even open the door to the office. He was getting pressure put on him about not wearing a shirt and a tie. He can't button a shirt up, never mind fasten a tie.
I am also Parliament's very first autistic MP, as well as having cerebral palsy and other disabilities.
I had no idea who was advising him at that time, if he was taking advice from anyone.
He had a group of people working for him initially, and then Gareth Arnold became involved in it. It very much is a PR sort of guru, allegedly, isn't he? And he was full of buzzwords and full of all these exciting things that we were going to do.
Which included a bit of a relaunch and an interview with Look North.
In terms of the way that you've represented your constituents, some have suggested that you should stand down.
Give all yourself, yeah? I'm going nowhere. And I'm here for you whether you want me here for you or not.
I was there. He drank a litre of vodka before a BBC Look North interview, which, funnily enough, was the best interview he's ever given.
Jarrad O'Mara denied being drunk, but the person that had set up that interview and was behind the camera during that interview had already reported Jarrad O'Mara to police.
Good morning, South Yorkshire Police. How can we help?
Well, it's a bit of a tricky one.
Jarrad O'Mara and Gareth Arnold created a fake autism charity to try and claim money, but the postcode they'd used for it was actually Penistone Road McDonald's.
They probably felt they were untouchable. It wasn't very sophisticated.
Cocaine use led to fake expense claims, which eventually led to him being found guilty of fraud. Gareth Arnold was also found guilty of 3 counts of fraud.
But he put himself in that position. He said he was an advocate. He said he was going to stand up for it. And then he massively abused that trust.
You know, his life's been turned around, it's been destroyed for him, but that's... Where was the care? Where was the support?
Tosh MacDonald ending that report by James Vincent. He's here now with us. James, that was just a small taster of the documentary. At the time, Labour really didn't say much about this, did they? But they have now.
Yeah, they avoided it during the trial. Obviously, by that point, Jared O'Mara wasn't a Labour MP anymore because he'd resigned from the party. But there was as in the documentary, there are constituents asking for an apology from Labour. They don't think Labour did enough while he was MP, while he wasn't necessarily representing his constituents. But as part of Labour conference, we got a chance to catch up with Sir Keir Starmer. So I put that to him directly. People in Sheffield Hallam felt like they didn't have an MP while he was there. Can you guarantee to people, when you're selecting candidates for the next election, that this will never happen again?
Yes, and that's why I've put in place a rigorous system now for selecting our candidates. I am determined that across Yorkshire, the very best representation is there, and so that will never happen again because we've already taken the steps to ensure that it can never happen again.
He says there it'll never happen again. Jared O'Mara has lost his appeal against his 4-year sentence. What other lessons have been learned?
There's a huge amount to be learned from this case, and in the documentary we explore a little bit about that. I think that lack of help for people with substance misuse, or lack of help for people who want to get into Parliament but feel that there's barriers to get into Parliament. And then for the constituents, if it doesn't work out for a particular MP and they're not representing their constituents like they maybe should, what recourse do people have to say, hang on a minute, I don't think we're getting value for money for MP? And at the end of this story, we've got somebody who is currently serving a 4-year prison sentence for fraud.
A gripping watch, James, thank you. And you can see that full story of Jared O'Mara on the BBC iPlayer. The documentary is called The Commons Criminal, and you can watch it right now. You are watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. I've been out with a team of mini paddleboarders on a litter-picking mission to clean up our waterways. Next tonight, as tensions in Israel continue to rise, communities in our region touched by the deadly conflict are gathering together this evening. There have been further airstrikes on Gaza today following attacks by Hamas in Israel at the weekend. In Bradford, a rally was held a short while ago in solidarity with Palestinians. We'll hear more about that in a moment, but first let's head to Millennium Square in Leeds, where people from the Jewish community are holding a vigil. Corinne Wheatley is there for us this evening. Corinne.
Thanks, Amy. Yes, as you say, you join us in Millennium Square in Leeds, where several hundred people have gathered for this evening's vigil. They say they're here to show solidarity with people in Israel, to show their respect and their support. Amongst the crowd, we've got lots of people with Israeli flags, some draped around their shoulders. The speeches started about 20 minutes or so ago. There are several members here from the Leeds Jewish community, but people from other faiths as well. And there are some councillors speaking here tonight. There'll be prayers and psalms read. In their thoughts, organisers say it's not just those who've lost their lives in the attacks in Israel, but the injured, those displaced from their homes, and of course, people who are still being held hostage. Now, tonight's vigil, organisers were very clear it was a vigil and not a rally, not a protest. They say tonight is a night for showing respect, showing support. And it's very deeply personal for many people here in the crowd. I spoke to Simon Myerson a little while ago. He's chair of the Leeds Jewish Representative Council.
The weekend was really devastating, and it's made worse because it's a religious holiday, so news filters through very gradually. And people are really upset and sad, and coming together and comforting each other and showing that we're prepared to be counted. That really means something to a community. I have 2 daughters in Israel. They are running to shelters and they're taking their little children with them. The little girl is having nightmares, and they are the best off people I know. There are people in my community who have 5+ members of their own family held hostage in Gaza at the moment. It is so close to home for everybody. I don't think people really understand quite what the connection is.
Well, at the end of this evening's vigil, around 20 minutes or so, people will be given a candle to take away with them. Now, elsewhere, of course, emotions run very high over this decades-old conflict. Yesterday evening in Sheffield, 2 protesters removed an Israeli flag that was flying above Sheffield Town Hall. A man was seen on this widely shared footage scaling the town hall to get that flag and replace it with a Palestinian flag. Sheffield City Council said the men put themselves at risk and they're calling for tolerance and support. Police say inquiries are ongoing, as they are with a similar incident where an Israeli flag was removed from Rotherham Town Hall. Now, a rally was held in Bradford a couple of hours ago in support of Palestinians. Our reporter Sabia Pervez sent this report.
We may be thousands of miles away from the Middle East, but the tremors of this escalating conflict between Israel and Palestine can be felt on the streets of Bradford. A pro-Palestinian march was organised by the Bradford Friends of Palestine, and it started not far from here in Infirmary Fields, and the procession has now ended up here in Centenary Square. There are roughly around 200 people here, and the mood is that of defiance. People here are not only sad at what's happened, but they're angry at the number of casualties now taking place in Gaza.
We are here because we want a peace in the Middle East. We're against every war. We're asking Israel to stop the siege of Gaza, the killing of innocent people, displacement of 350,000 people so far.
I'm Palestinian myself. I've got friends, family friends in Gaza. I've not heard from them, so I don't know anything about them. The communication has been cut. They tried to go out, the airstrikes started, they went back into the house. There's no safe place on Gaza.
Earlier today, religious leaders from different faiths from across the city issued a statement in which they urge for unity. They say violence and hatred is not a solution. They also warned residents not to allow this situation to develop into a proxy conflict after years of community cohesion.
Sabia Pervez and Corinne Wheatley reporting for us there. Cannabis plants worth more than £500,000 have been discovered in Doncaster city centre. South Yorkshire Police found over 550 plants at premises on Auckland Road. One man has been charged and remanded in custody until he's due to appear at Sheffield Crown Court next month. The plants were seized and destroyed. Yorkshire County Cricket Club have today officially confirmed the appointment of their new chairman. As reported over the summer on Look North, the Yorkshire Board's choice of Harry Chathly has now been approved by members at an extraordinary general meeting. Harry Chathly has wide experience in the communications industry, advising global companies, organisations and government agencies. Now, he was a self-proclaimed professional Yorkshireman. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? The chat show king, Sir Michael Parkinson. He was remembered by family and friends today in Cudworth, the village that he called home. Parky became a household name for his direct and down-to-earth style of interviewing. Heidi Tomlinson reports.
Come on, no time for tears, Dickie, today.
Celebrating the life of a father and friend, Sir Michael Parkinson, the celebrity interviewer who became famous himself.
Evening. Tonight my guest is an extraordinary man.
Revered by musicians, actors and the sporting elite, the proud Yorkshireman who died in August was remembered in his home village of Cudworth today with a blue plaque unveiled by his son.
And there he is.
Yes!
Thank you very much. The community that he grew up in was hugely important to him. And he literally was able to go to a library, to be encouraged to read. He did listen to music, he did hear music wherever he went. And that idea that mining communities were these grim places is a sort of cliche that's encouraged by people who don't understand.
So your dad was known to be a fantastic listener. Was he the same with you when you were growing up?
And he had the ability to listen to a diatribe from someone or some emotional outburst and actually focus down on exactly what was really at the core of it. And I suppose that was his innate talent when he interviewed.
Good to see you, and good that could finally...
I have to say, before we start, actually, I wanted to say
that this is a great honour for me, because I can remember being, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, and my mum would allow me to stay up beyond a certain time in the evening only to watch the Parkinson show. She thought it would be a bit of quality watching, so I'm very, very privileged to be here.
Well, that's very kind of you. Very kind of you. It's good to have you.
Parky was the one big names chose to open up to, but before TV came cricket. Growing up playing for Barnsley, which is where he met lifelong friend Dickie Bird.
We still have the opening partnership, best opening partnership at the club against Castleford in the Yorkshire League, and we have some wonderful, wonderful memories, and I shall miss him.
It was a day to catch up with long-lost family and share memories.
I remember Dad going to the game where they won promotion to the Premiership, and he was with Dickie again, and Dickie was so over-emotional, Dad had to stop him invading the pitch.
Well, it's hoped that this permanent memorial will forever remind locals of the down-to-earth Yorkshire lad from humble beginnings, whose genuine personality charmed the stars. Heidi Tomlinson, BBC Look North, Cudworth.
Certainly one of a kind, wasn't he? Now, if you have been for a walk along the river or canal, even by the sea recently, then I'm sure you'll have spotted some of this floating plastic. According to the Canal and River Trust, 14 million pieces of plastic rubbish end up in or near our waterways every year. 500,000 of those pieces end up flowing right out into the river. Now, this is despite the charity saying that they spend £1 million every year cleaning up litter. So this autumn they've launched a big plastic pickup challenge, encouraging all of us to keep our waterways tidy. I've been out with a group of mini paddlers on a litter picking mission.
Lots and lots of microplastic and micropolystyrene, which comes down to the tiny, tiny balls. It's everywhere.
You don't have to go far on the canal in Leeds before you find plastic.
Just come over to this part, you'll see where the football is. Lots of plastic.
These children from All Saints Primary are here for their weekly paddle session with Dean. He's been teaching groups at Leeds Dock for many years, and litter picking comes with the territory.
I use the waterways constantly. It's my habitat, it's where I'm working, my leisure. So yeah, just keep it clean. The amount of wildlife, go down to the Swan's Nest, it's further down at Hunslet. It's made out of plastic and rubbish.
Kitted out with gloves, bags and litter pickers, they're straight onto the water.
It gives them confidence, makes them understand about water safety, and I think it's really made them realise just how much litter's actually in the river, and hopefully it'll make them think twice before they drop any litter on the streets, because they're actually seeing it out here for themselves.
And it's not long before they're back on the dockside to unload.
More plastic and glass.
Harry's only been in the water 5 minutes, and look, he's got a whole bag full. What have you found, Harry?
A flip-flop, loads of bottles, polystyrene, cans, plastic bottles.
What do you make of all this, Harry?
It's not making me feel happy because this is going into the river and hurting all the animals.
You said it, Harry. It's a message the Canal and River Trust want us all to hear.
When plastic makes it into our waterways, it damages our habitats, it damages wildlife. We think around 14 million pieces end up in our water. So what we're trying to do is reduce that by helping people get out and helping our charity to remove that plastic.
Just 15 minutes on the water and take a look at what we've collected.
It makes me really concerned for the animals who live here because this is their home and it's getting trashed by so many people.
Today we found a lot of glass, bottles, some balls and stuff that can hurt the fish.
I actually found a letter in a bottle. One of the children found it, and when we got it out it said, "This was written in Leeds, please text me if you find it." And the children were saying they're going to text back and say, "Stop littering."
If the message still isn't getting through, maybe you'll listen to Ruby.
Please take home your litter and put it in the bin so no animals are harmed.
Brilliant morning with All Saints Primary. Meet Iman. She's 8 years old and she's from Huddersfield, and she's been awarded with a British Citizen Youth Award for being a shining example in her community. Iman has been selling homemade jewellery to raise enough from her sales to supply the Huddersfield Street Kitchen. Carla Fowler has been to meet her.
Iman makes jewellery every day after school and sells what she makes on pop-up stalls and her Instagram page. The 8-year-old's creations have proved popular in her hometown of Huddersfield. In fact, she's raised enough from her sales to buy supplies for food parcels. Now her efforts, which began 2 years ago, have been recognised with a nomination for a Youth Citizenship Award.
I feel really proud, and all I want to do is just help. I make jewellery so I can make money for the poor, because not everybody get to have a warm, happy meal.
Eman packs the parcels and helps distribute them.
I take the parcels to Huddersfield Street Kitchen.
Mum Nusrat had no idea her daughter's hard work had been noticed.
I got the email and I actually burst out crying because it was just such a proud moment. We as a whole family are so proud of Iman, and we're here just, willing to support her in whatever she wants to do.
Every week the family head off to Huddersfield Town Centre where the Street Kitchen team operate, and they're grateful for any help.
It's coming up now to our 5-year anniversary, and now we help about 120, 130 people every week with food, clothing, bread and vegetables and fruit. I think it's amazing that Iman's been nominated for this award. She's been coming along now to the Street Kitchen for around about 18 months. I think it's well deserved.
This 8-year-old is the pride of her town and a shining example of what true citizenship looks like in Yorkshire. Carla Fowler, BBC Look North, Huddersfield.
Oh, Eman, you are a little angel. Finally tonight, an extremely valuable set of historical photos have been discovered at Leeds Central Library. Rhiann Isaacs stumbled upon a very unassuming book which in fact contains some significant world history that's mysteriously ended up here in Yorkshire. Hannah Gray reports.
At first glance, Rhiann thought this was just a family photo album. But here at Leeds Library, hidden in plain sight, she found a book filled with photos of an exciting adventure that took place over 100 years ago.
You've no idea what you might find on the shelves here. We've got thousands and thousands of books. It was particularly the spine that caught my attention. So on the spine it says Scots and the Antarctic, and I just thought seeing those two words was really exciting. But once I opened it, I thought, wow, this is something really special.
What she'd found were original images documenting a mission involving some of the most famous explorers of the 1900s. The photos show an expedition on a relief ship sent out to assist with Captain Robert Falcon Scott's first ever expedition to the Antarctic.
So I first found this album in what we call our strong room, which is where we keep our most precious and valuable books. And it was just when I was browsing the shelves and I came across it and just thought how exciting it was to find such a valuable piece of history.
And can you show me some of the most fascinating photos in here?
Well, they're full of really wonderful pictures and it's really difficult to choose. Some really capture the kind of camaraderie, the friendship, the adventure, but this one in particular is quite exciting, and this is quite an iconic photograph. So this is the moment that the Morning first spots the Discovery.
The Morning relief ship found the Discovery trapped in solid sea ice, and Rhiann's book reveals more about this significant mission. The Morning rescued and helped out legendary explorers like Ernest Shackleton and Captain Scott. And now, experts from the BBC's Antiques Roadshow have confirmed that these pictures are genuine.
I am going to put a value on this. I know it's never going to be sold because it belongs to the people of Leeds, but I don't have any hesitation in putting £20,000 to £30,000 on this album.
Wow, that's incredible. But of course, we'll never sell it.
The staff here are now embarking on a mission of their own to find out more about the people who feature in these photos. Rhiann says this is the perfect example of never judging a book by its cover. Hannah Gray, BBC Look North, Leeds.
So true, what an amazing discovery. 30 grand. You'd flog it, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't think my book will be worth 30 grand. In fact, I saw it in the bargain bucket in 99p the other week.
That is a bargain.
It is a bargain. Now, there's lots of change coming weather-wise. I just thought I'd choose this picture there in Aysgarth. Just a few signs of autumn. The river was very full with the rainfall that we had on the previous days, but that's a lovely picture. And we've also got a bit of a miserable-looking one in Bawtry there. The skies have been leaden for much of the day, and it's been quite a wet afternoon, but the sunshine is on its way back. If you've got any pictures, you want to send them to me on Twitter, Instagram, or on the Weather Watcher website. So a much brighter prospect tomorrow. It looks set to be dry, lots of sunshine, lots of blue sky. That's great news. And then a wet day to come on Friday. That's courtesy of this front. Certainly Friday morning looks very wet indeed. Once that's out of the way, autumn proper comes in during the weekend on a run of northwesterlies. That said, this is actually quite a good direction for us. The air will be clean, there'll be lots of blue sky, but there'll be a frost at night. And I think high pressure will dominate next week, so it looks fine and chilly, but with plenty of sunshine as well. Now, there's a satellite picture. We're just beginning to see the back edge coming into the far north of North Yorkshire. But it's making painfully slow progress southeastward. Still some rain in the south of the region, but as you can see, most of us are clear during the second half of the night. And there is just a chance, actually, of a touch of ground frost across parts of North Yorkshire. Look at that near Settle. 1 Celsius is just 34 Fahrenheit. And so tomorrow's high water time is Farley 3:47, and again at 4:15. So a chilly start, but a bright one, plenty of sunshine. The sunshine might be hazy at times, especially across more southern parts of our region where cloud may well thicken through the afternoon. But all of us will have a much brighter prospect with sunshine and temperatures. That's normal. We've been used to 22, haven't we? 13 or 14, bang on average for the middle of October, just a light breeze. So Friday's not looking too good, cloudy as rain spreads in from the southwest, and then the weekend, loads of sunshine, just a very small chance of a shower. Quite chilly, 10 on Sunday, and there is a risk of frost at night. But look at that next week, it's fine and sunny, proper autumn weather.
Frost?
Yes.
Can't believe it.
Central heating.
Believe it when I see it. We're already having that battle, believe me. That's it from us. Good night.